And I beheld heaven open, and behold the white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he's a judge and makes war. We are at
So you better lace your straps up.
and spiritual.
We're at war. So you better lace your straps up.
Man, the hell up this room.
This is war.
We are at war.
So you better lace your straps up.
And spiritual.
We're at war. So you better lace your straps
Man, the hell
up.
up this room. Big tanks, warships, and planted hands with small chips. North Korea, Russian spies, war is at our doorsteps. History doesn't lie, they beat the slaves with horse whips. So I think it's only right we pay them back with small tips. End of time, spoken of, it's gonna get a little warm. Daniel 7 started 8, judgment of the little horn that beat us down, held us back, called us by obscenities. Prepare us a table in the presence of our enemies and pay them back. Worse than that, they argue that the earth is flat. Our babies dying, mothers crying, cities full of murdered blacks. Hispanics too, they hate you too. Edomites are not your friend. Harmless smile behind the scenes. They tracking you through iPhone 10 technologies, through policy. We served them since the colonies. This ain't our rest, my mind is right. This place is hell, I'm not at ease. I swore an oath with every breath. I promise to defend the law. Sword is sharpened, armored up. I'm calling for the men of
This is
war.
war.
We are at
So
war.
you better lace.
Hey, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters, family and friends, and those that consider me an enemy. You, shalom, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Maccabees TV, an impromptu edition of Maccabees TV. I'm actually on the road right now. You guys know my usual. I'm about to go hit the gym momentarily. Just had to make a quick stop over here to get me one of those pads that you put around the bar when you're going to do squats. Because, you know, for some reason when I do squats, the bar like really irritates my neck a lot. So I don't like squatting without the bar, without the pad. So I got to make a stop. So I was just meditating on things that are going on in the world. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do an impromptu live real quick. I'm not going to be on too long, but I just kind of wanted to talk about, you know, what's going on in the world real quick. Of course, if you're watching this video, you should hit the like button. You guys already know the drill. That should be second nature, right? So you guys see the title of the video. I'm not going to wait for brothers and sisters to come on. They can always catch the replay a little bit later. You brothers and sisters, it was a couple of days, I've been seeing a lot of articles circulating that there's possibly an impending arrest of Donald Trump this upcoming Tuesday. That's what a lot of media outlets are saying. A lot of media outlets are saying that Donald Trump is going to be arrested on Tuesday. Now, I don't know that for sure. So that's not what this video was about per se, but it's been out there. I'm not sure how many of you guys have actually been seeing that news as well. If you haven't, just do a quick Google search and you guys will see there's a lot of talk about possibly charges against Donald Trump being filed officially on Tuesday and he's going to be arrested. That could be true. That could not be true, right? That remains to be seen. But what I did want to mention to brothers and sisters is my perspective on if it were to happen. What's my perspective on that? That's kind of the inspiration for this video, right? So if it were to happen to me, and this is just me speaking, I'm not necessarily speaking authoritatively as far as scriptures are concerned when it comes to this particular subject. I'm kind of just, you know, shooting from the hip and kind of speaking my opinion on it, my educated guess on it, I'll call it that. If Donald Trump is to be arrested, it's not real. It's a psyop to me. If Donald Trump is arrested, it's a psyop, right? There are a couple of reasons why I say that, or why I think that. Number one, you guys remember January 6th, 2020? Was it 2020? When you had the insurrection in Washington, D.C., right? We already saw that you had all those guys, those QAnon guys, and all these different conspiracy groups and right-wing groups that converged on Washington, D.C., which even that to me was a psyop too, to a degree. The way they just fell back and allowed people to go into you was allowed to go into the Senate chamber, right? Unimpeded. You was allowed to go all throughout the White House unimpeded. White House, Washington D.C. police and federal police didn't do anything. They just sat back and let these people do that. To me, that was a psyop. I'm gonna be honest with you. But one of the things that I've been considering is that's like a prelude or something that we can see that's kind of a blueprint for something that would happen if Donald Trump is arrested on Tuesday. And what I mean by that is that you might wind up seeing certain psyops go down after that, like certain mass shootings or insurrections in certain cities or certain things where his quote unquote supporters, which a lot of times are nothing but Antifa and these other groups, but you'll see certain things happen in certain cities. And when these psyops happens, it allows the powers that should not be, that are in power, to implement laws, new legislation, right? Further impeding on our quote unquote civil liberties and our rights, right? It's all a game, right? Order through chaos, order ab chaos, right? You do something like arrest Donald Trump, which a lot of these right-wing people like, so forth and so on, right? He's like their, what's the word I want to use? He's the person that they look to as like he's a symbol of their beliefs, right? He's a symbol of their beliefs, a symbol of, a strong white man that's outspoken, so forth and so on, right? So a lot of these so-called white men, especially so-called right-wing, conservative, Republican type, neo-Nazi type white men, a lot of them look to him, right? They look to him. So, dang, you can turn it off any second now. You're looking at your car horn beeping, but you won't turn it off. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. Okay, she's standing right next to it, but won't press the horn button to turn it off. Yeah, so a lot of them look to Donald Trump as like a figure of strength or whatever like that. So if they were to arrest this guy, next thing you know, you guys might see psyops over the next couple of months to a year, in the name of people rebelling against the government, so forth and so on. But all this stuff is planned. All this stuff is pre-planned, leading right into the next election, which, by the way, if he is arrested, is going to make him a sympathetic figure. And it's very, very possible that you could see this guy reelected again. It's very, very possible. Again, all I'm doing is I'm just speculating because, like I said, I've seen the news circulating over and over again that there's a possibility that he's going to be arrested on Tuesday. I don't know that to be true. But if I see it, I'm not going to trip because I understand that there's a game being played. When the white man does things, these things are planned out years ahead, right? There's always a sequence of things that they expect to happen as a result of them doing one thing. They make one move on a chessboard, right? And that one move influences the next 10 moves. That's what they're doing, right? And then you're going to see other things transpire after that. You're going to see different laws transpire after that, so forth and so on. So that's the way I look at it. I look at it as just a game that they're playing, right? And they're playing to people's emotions, and it's going to open the door for them to pass different legislation and do different things. That's all that is. It's going to make him a sympathetic figure, right? They're going to be like, the liberal establishment is coming against him and all those other stupid talking points that you hear on the news. And the next thing you know, this dude could possibly be reselected, because we don't elect presidents. He could be reselected as president in the next election cycle. All a psyop, right? All of it is a psyop, right? Also, while we're distracted, brothers and sisters, how many of you brothers and sisters are aware of this terminology that they have now called smart cities? Are you guys familiar with these smart cities that they have? There's something that they have called smart cities. It's a part of what they call the Build Back Better program after COVID. All these things are being implemented under our nose while we're not paying attention because we're being distracted by a whole bunch of other things, right? So we have to continue to watch what's going on around us because they're setting things in place for this new world order. We see the things that's going on with the banks. We see the things that's going on with the financial system. We hear talks about them rebuilding cities and they call them smart cities, so forth and so on. You can already see these smart cities in Europe, right? When you get a chance, go on YouTube, right? Don't watch none of the folly on YouTube. Take some time to kind of fill your mind with information and go and watch the outrage or the protests that people are having in Europe over what they call smart cities and what these smart cities will eventually lead to. These smart cities will eventually lead to a degree, martial law to a degree. Where you're not, where the Bible tells us in the book of Second Esdras, you'll desire to go into another city and not be able. That goes on a lot of levels, because these smart cities, basically what they are is that they have everything that you would possibly need within a 15-mile radius, right? So a lot of people are feeling like that's the government infringing on their rights, and eventually they're not going to be able to go past like a 15 or 20-mile radius from their house because they have these smart cities. They won't have a reason. These things are being set in place, and when they're being set in place, they look as though they're saying that, oh, they're creating the smart cities because of fuel emissions, and people don't have to burn as much gas to go, 20, 30 miles to go here, there, or whatever. You'll have everything within a 15-mile radius of your house. And they say that they're doing this for the environment. This is what we're being told. But actually, there's more sinister things that's going on behind the scenes with these smart cities that I'll call the deacon back. There's more sinister things going on with these smart cities than what we're being. You guys to put one in the chat. I'm checking. If you guys have heard of smart cities before, put one in the chat and let me know you guys have heard about that before. All these things are being set up, Ganon says, to introduce the New World Order. Right, exactly. These things are being implemented as though but the way that they're being implemented or rolled out is being rolled out to the point where people will kind of agree with it because it sounds right. Like, yeah, you know what? If I don't have any, gas is also very expensive. So why would you want to burn gas to drive 30 miles to go to a particular place where you might need something when you can get it? Everything that you need will be in a 15-mile radius of your house, right? This is what they're doing. And they're implementing these smart cities in Europe first. Europe is always the test ground for these things, right? Before they bring them here, right? And the reason why they always test things over in Europe first before they bring those things over here is because the American population is one of the largest standing armies in the world. Like, the American population is armed, right? So they can't just come and bring in their New World Order just like that. They have to do it gradually, right? So Europe is usually the incubator. All the COVID restrictions and everything that we had a couple of years ago, where did it start? It started in Europe. All the lockdowns, where did it start? It started in Europe, and then it eventually came over here. So you see the same thing going on with these smart cities and other things that they're planning. They're incubating and testing those things over in Europe before they implement them over here. Meanwhile, us over here, we're distracted with every form of folly that there is, right? Sports and celebrities and this one and that one and all the folly that we get on the news, and nobody talks about these things. Guys, how many of you guys are aware? I'm gonna give you guys another one. How many of you guys are aware of this? I forgot what it's called, but you guys can look it up, right? Because I'm kind of winging it. I'm on the road. I'm kind of winging it. How many of you guys have heard of this this plan of redistricting parts of Oregon? I see you, Deacon. I'm gonna call you back. How many of you guys have heard of them doing something where they're trying to redistrict parts of Oregon and implement it into the state of Idaho? Have you guys heard about that? If you guys haven't heard about that, when I'm home, I'm gonna have to actually get the information and get exactly what it's called. But if anybody has heard about that and you guys know about that, do me a favor and put a link for that in the chat so the folks that's watching can actually go and look that up. That's actually going on. There's a whole bunch of things going on that the mainstream media is not talking to us about, right? Because these things are being done under your noses, and you're just gonna wake up to it. And by the time you wake up to it, you don't even realize what's been going on the whole time. There's a lot of psyops going on the whole time, and we're being distracted by a lot of foolishness. And the purpose of this video, for those of y'all that's just coming in, my man over in Dubai, I was saying smart cities. They're called 15-minute cities. That's what my man. That's what my brothers. Right? I'm gonna call them winging it, but that's what they're called, brothers and sisters. They're called 15-minute cities. That's part of the New World Order. Those things are being implemented all over the world, and they're eventually trying to implement them here too, where Everything is 15 minutes from your house. You have no reason to go further than 15 minutes from your house. That's one of the ways eventually they're going to be introducing or trying to implement martial law, right? Without coming down and just doing it like that, they do it under the guise of the environment. Like, hey, you know what? Everything is 15 minutes from your house. Gas is very expensive. You don't have to burn gas. You don't really need to be, the environment, the ozone layer, all this other stuff. They're talking around it, but really and truly, there's sinister intent the whole time. It's called a 15-minute city. All praises to the brother for that. I needed that. If you guys could find that thing about Idaho as well, how they're trying to implement parts of Oregon into Idaho and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on that, you know what I'm saying, that's really, really, really interesting. Meanwhile, we're distracted, right? So the purpose of this video, the purpose of this impromptu video for brothers and sisters that's just coming in is that if you guys haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of chatter. We're not saying it's definitely going to happen, but there's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of talk about Donald Trump being arrested on Tuesday, which to me is just another psyop. It's just another psyop because that leads to certain acts going on in certain cities, right? Right, which allows them to implement more laws. The more of these mass shootings that you have is the closer and closer we get to quote unquote where they can unarm the population. First, they're trying to start with assault rifles, right? What they call assault rifles like AR-15s, et cetera, et cetera. But eventually it's going to go down to handguns. Guys, pay attention. Your man up north, Trudeau in Canada, he already did that. How many of you guys know that? Trudeau, the president or prime minister of Canada, he already did that in Canada. He already bans quote unquote assault rifles in Canada, ARs, and I believe handguns are next, right? So the population is now unarmed. You can't protect yourself, and then they could bring in their new world order, and there's nothing you could do. And we consent to it, not us in the truth, but the people consent to it because they do it in a way where, like I say, they do it in a way where they're quote unquote saving the environment. They're manufacturing a lot of these mass shootings, right? And then they pass legislation right along with it. All these things are psyops. So Donald Trump arrested for some reason, brother. Is my man Ganon is on the chat. The big movement, guys. All the stuff going on under our nose as well. When I say our, I'm not talking about us in the truth. And shout out, somebody mentioned my brother King Ben. Shout out to my man King Ben, right? Every day on Clubhouse, they have a room where they go into the news. They talk about the news. No folly, no nothing. They talk about the news and they talk about prophecy. All right. So what Mike Hunt, he said, how do they do that? Well, brother, every time that you remember, Mike, and you can actually go and you can look this up, under the Clinton administration, they banned assault rifles before. They banned them before, right? And then when Trump came into office, he undid that. But they banned them before. They don't have to come knocking on your door, King. When you buy a gun, you're saying you got to fill out paperwork with the person that you're buying it from, the gun shop that you're buying it from. Listen, I live in Pennsylvania, so it's legal. I got an AR-15. I have an AR-15, amongst other things. But I have an AR-15. I had to fill out paperwork and all that, you know what I'm saying? And they had to go submit the paperwork and everything. So they got paperwork. They know everybody that has one. They know everybody. You can't get away from that. They don't got to knock on your door. If they do that, they're going to come with a buyback program. So you might have spent $1,000 for it. They're going to give you $300. And you got to turn that thing in or else they're going to show up at your house. That's what they're trying to do. That's the thing, right? So all these things are going on. Ganon, where's the link? I don't see it. Right, Charlotte. A lot of those people were crisis actors on January 6th. And you might see some more crisis actors come out the woodworks if Donald Trump is arrested on Tuesday. Subsequently, going forward, you're going to see a lot of that again, right? I don't see any link, Ganon. I say you said here's the link, but I don't see the link that you posted. Yeah. And again, brothers and sisters, we're just having a hypothetical conversation. We're not saying that he's definitely going to be arrested. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that a lot of news outlets are saying it. And if I do see it happen, I understand what it is I'm looking at. It's a psyop. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. There's something else that they have planned down the road that will unveil itself eventually, right? Whether that's more crisis actors, more quote unquote mass shootings, whether it's to make him a sympathetic figure so that he can be reselected as president. We'll find out, what's going to happen down the road. But I just find it very interesting. And it just kind of dropped in my lap on Friday. I really didn't hear anything about it. I wasn't following it because it's going on in New York and I don't even live in New York anymore. So really just people in New York, they're kind of being bombarded with it on the news. But outside of New York, a lot of people really, Charlotte said Trump confirmed that he expects it on Tuesday. Yeah, I think he posted that on Twitter, right? If I'm not mistaken, he did that on his Twitter. I didn't check it though, but I did hear that too, that he confirmed that he expects to be arrested. But it doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? It doesn't mean that they're actually going to go through with it. They might not, right? But we just have to pay attention to what's going on in the world. That's really the bottom line of me just doing this video. It's nothing real major, nothing real profound or deep. I just wanted to make people aware of what could possibly be going on and some of the things that you brothers and sisters might see subsequent to that arrest. If it were to take place, you guys might see a lot of other things, which are all psyops and bringing us closer and closer to their plans of trying to implement this new world order. That's what they're trying to do. That's why what we're doing is so important, that we cannot allow anything to distract us from doing the job that we're doing, because they're doing their job, right? All right, you guys are putting a lot of links in the chat and everything. I'm gonna have to go back and check these links out later because I'm on the road. But okay, all praises for those of y'all that's watching. You guys can check out some of the links on BitChute that people are putting in there. And check these things out for yourself, okay? I just wanted to make you guys aware of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? We got to stay alert. Okay? And my advice to Israelites in general, stay out of all the politics and the foolishness that goes on in this nation. A lot of that stuff is distractions too. It really is. It's to distract you. If you get caught up in back and forth with other Israelites and all this other stuff like that, it's going to distract you from doing the work. We're supposed to be sounding the alarm and sounding the trumpet, warning the people. That's the job, right? Don't get caught up in all the politics. I don't. When I see it, I just swerve around it, man. It's like a pothole in the street. I just swerve right around it. I say to myself, look at this foolishness. Tell my other brothers, look at this foolishness right here. Let's just take the steering wheel of the camp and let's swerve around that pothole and keep going, because we got work to do. My man Zion, AOC in the building. Hopefully I'll see you brothers at Passover. AOC in the building. Zion, AOC Cleveland in the building. Speaking of Passover, I'm literally on my way back home after I go to the gym, and I'm gonna continuously check every single day the email. We're about 2 weeks out from Passover now, a little over 2 weeks, and I'm making sure that I'm responding to everyone's emails. So please check your emails daily for my response, so I can let you brothers and sisters know what we expect from you if you're coming, and also where we're going to be. Okay, so continue to check your emails for that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been getting some emails in my at the bottom of the screen. You guys can see the ticker that's going across, right? So we have a couple of different emails on there for different things. And the academy that I just did is about to end next week, the last weekend for our academy that we did. Shout out to brothers and the sisters that went through this academy. This was a great academy. A lot of information came out. I don't think I'm doing another academy till the fall, right? I'm going to take the spring summer to, work on some other things within the body. So I don't think I'm doing another academy till the fall. But if you want to do one of these academies in the fall, you could email me, but I'm going to be a little more selective with the people that I let into the next academy. I want to build up in the states where we are, right? We have a lot of people that randomly email me from different states, and we don't really have a presence there per se in those states, which is cool. It's cool to a degree, but I have to focus more on the states where we actually have a body already. I kind of want to focus on that a little bit more. So if you're someplace where we already have brothers and sisters in that area, that's a lot better for us. But I won't necessarily say I'm turning anybody away. So you still can email and let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it and see what we can do. We're trying to do something. I'm trying to do another academy in September, Lord allow. I'm gonna give myself a little break for the spring and the summer because it's a lot. You guys know, if you guys think, for those of y'all that watch the Sabbath classes, you see I do a PowerPoint every week, right? And then you multiply that by me doing a new one in the academy every week. I can't even express to you guys how much work goes into these PowerPoints. It's ridiculous how much reading I have to do and how much work it is to put together these PowerPoints. It's a lot of work. I got to give myself a little bit of a break from that. You know what I'm saying? I've now accustomed everyone that watches the show to me doing PowerPoints. Imagine me just stop doing them, right? I wouldn't like that. So I got to give myself a chance to reset and also, make new ones, right? Because a lot of you guys have seen the ones I already have done and update some of the ones I've already done. Okay, so I'm going to do another academy in the fall. I'm going to check the academy email possibly today as well. And, anyone that is reaching out to me, I will get back to you and then we'll discuss it from there. I had a conversation with a beautiful couple, a conversation with them about a couple of weeks ago, and they want to join the camp, but they're in a state where they're by themselves, right? So, when I say by themselves, meaning that our particular camp doesn't have, a body there per se. I always, so people know, like, I'm gonna say it publicly what I say to the camp in general. Our camp doesn't really care about numbers per se. I don't deal with numbers. I don't care about that, right? So a lot of times people will tell you when they come to me, I actually send them to other camps. I'm like, why don't you, we're not there. Why don't you go fellowship with, I don't send them to just any camp now, but I'll send you to a camp that I think, these brothers are good. And some people will go, but some people don't want to go. They want to congregate with us, which is cool, right? So I meet people like that, and I don't turn people away per se, but understand that our focus over the next couple of months, at least over the next year, I should say, is going to be more so building the congregations that we already have. So we'll work that stuff out. I just wanted to say that real quick. What else? Oh, you guys definitely want to be tuned in. You guys definitely want to be tuned in this upcoming Sabbath. I'm going to be dealing with Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Now, here's the thing. I mentioned it yesterday in the Sabbath class. I'll mention it again. The thing with Deuteronomy 28, 68 is there are records from Josephus and from the 2nd century as well, historians that speak about the Israelites going into Egypt in the 1st century and the 2nd century. So what's wound up happening is that you have the Christian apologists who have taken hold of that history, and they're teaching that Deuteronomy 28, verse 68 was fulfilled in 70 AD and also fulfilled in the 2nd century as well, right? We can't run from that argument. We have to run to it. Some of you guys that I'm talking, and it's within the sound of my voice, you've never even heard that. And if a Christian was to pull those sources on you, you may not even know what to say. So we're going to discuss it on Saturday. We're not going to run from it. We're going to run to it. And we're going to explain it because it's very, very easy to explain. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68 was not fulfilled in 70 AD. That is a lie. I don't give a damn what Christian apologist says it. I don't give a damn what their credentials are. They could have a doctorate, a PhD. I don't give a damn. They cannot prove that Deuteronomy 28:68 was fulfilled in 70 AD. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. We ain't going to run from it. We're going to run to it. All right. All right, family. It's your brother Priest. I'm about to get Malak Zaquan. I see you, and I have not forgotten you. Right. We definitely have to have a conversation. But as you well know, putting this Passover together, especially this one, has been a lot. But if the Lord allow, you and I are going to talk sometime this week. All right. So just hang in there. Most High bless you specifically. And the Most High bless everybody that's listening. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. I'm on the road. I just said I would stop and have a conversation with y'all real quick. I waited for this store to open. Now I'm about to go in and get this pad for me so I can squat. Put this pad on my neck so I can squat. Do some squats tomorrow, whatever, and get it in, man. Hey, man, movement is medicine, family. Never forget that. Movement is medicine. Continue, brothers and sisters, to monitor your health. Get some exercise. We're about to come into the springtime where it'll be warm pretty much across the country. If you're not a person that likes to get into the gym, go to the park, walk, and maybe invest in a bicycle and go bike ride around the neighborhood. Or if you live someplace that has a bike trail, take your bicycle to the bike trail. Do something. Do something. I don't know email you. Emails are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you want to email the academy, that's at the bottom of the screen. If you want join LOI149@gmail.com. That's going across the bottom of the screen. It'll come back in a minute. To come to the Passover is LOIgatherings@gmail.com. That's about to pass over the screen in a minute as well. So all the emails are there. If you want to do the academy in the fall is join LOI149@gmail.com. I don't know what happened, but the emails are at the bottom, guys. I'm going to get out of here. It's your brother Priest. It's all right. The emails are at the bottom. I'm about to get out of here. I got to go. I got things to do. So, yeah, anybody that needs anything. Hey, my man, Nasiah, what's going on, bro? Nasiah, you need to come back to Clubhouse, bro. I know you don't, you know what I'm saying? They clipped you, but we miss you over there, bro. You definitely need to come back to Clubhouse, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we'll talk about that. Hey, Yadai, shalom, bro. Looking forward to seeing you at Passover, King. Can't wait to see you as well. Shalom, Sister Cynthia. Shalom, shalom. I owe you a phone call too. Oh my goodness. So many people I got to call, man. There's not enough hours in the day. But it's all good. I'm out of here. It's your brother Priest. And I say, shalom, y'all.